The Lord is thy shepherd, I shall not want. Him maketh I lie down in a green pastures. Him leadeth I beside still water. Them him restoreth I soul. Him leadeth I in the path of righteousness for him name's sake. Yea! Though I RASTA, I go walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I can't fear no evil. For thy rod and thy staff them comforted I and I. Uno prepare the table before I in the presence of our enemy them. Uno anointed I head with uno oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy. I go follow I all the days of I even. May I go dwell in the house of the Lord God. Jah. Kadamawe grumabe atila exagbeer tanayistalin abashante shante Kadamawe grumabe atila where two and threes meet in the name of the Most High Jah, and the so Jah there. If Jah never build up your house, the builder I go build it in vain same way. If Jah never watch upon your house, the watchman I go watch it in vain. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and them is safe. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Jah shall deliver him from all of them. And I give thanks. And I give thanks. How Mauso Bolisa a danu water ewo a sick player for. How Mauso Bolisa akpe Akpesia, Akpekaka. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonamo, where we speak truth to power. And members say, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High Jah shall therein abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And I give thanks. And I give thanks. How Mausobolisa, Akpekaka. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonamo, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk RASTA. In every traditional African home there is a black pot, and each time this black pot sits on the fire there is something sumptuous cooking, ingredients of so many different colors, flavors, sizes, and even colors find themselves inside the black pot. They are subjected to some amount of heating and they produce one homogeneous product known as food. Now the food does not even benefit the ingredients, neither does it benefit the black pot. It benefits us, the eaters. Yet every time they would produce food by their collaboration. Same way, symbolically, the black pot represents the continent of Africa and the ingredients represent us. We must all come together so selflessly and work so we can produce development for our people, our continent, our land. We must put aside all our differences, just like the ingredients in the black pot, and work towards achieving a lot for ourselves and the next generation. We must be that Joshua generation that plants trees. For so long we've planted one season crops because we have been so selfish. Plant it today, harvest tomorrow, eat, sleep, die, go and be forgotten. No, we are now going to plant trees. Yes, we know that we might not live long enough to benefit from the shades of the trees. But we know there are some people on the way coming, the next generation, that will benefit this. Now, each time you sit under the shade of a, mango tree, mahogany tree, whatever tree it is, whose shade you enjoy, remember that some people planted these trees, knowing very well they will not live long enough to enjoy the shade of these trees. But they planted them for us, knowing that we are on the way coming. This is the black pot, aka Kukushonamo, where we speak truth to power. Here we don't criticize. But if we must criticize, one condition: to build, not to destroy. We are in the service of God and country. This is where the plot gets thick. We are number one. Yes, Pan-Africanism. It's what we deal with. We don't do politics here, and we are live on Pan-African TV. Africa's only Pan-African TV, also live on Loud Silence TV. We are super live on our own TV, the Black Empire TV, and we are live on Ghana Web TV. Oh gosh, what are you waiting for? And our modus operandi, very simple. We are working towards rewiring the brains of our people. We are working towards changing the mindset of our people. And once that mindset is done, we also will be able to grow as a people. The biggest problems of Africa are not just the problems of roads and hospitals and even schools, but the mindset. We must change our attitudes now. Kwame Nkrumah said, this is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushonomo, and we are on social media. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. It's called the Black Empire Media. Yes, we are on YouTube. Subscribe to our page, and then you click on the notification button so that every time you'll be notified to watch all these wonderful things we churn out to you. We are live every day, Monday to Friday, and we look at things that affect our continent, our people, our land. We are also on Twitter. We are on Instagram and also on Facebook. This is the show you've been waiting for. It's called the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushonomo, and here we speak truth to power. Now, the very first story we are looking at today is rolling on your screens, and I need you to open your ears and listen with rapt attention. Open your eyes and watch every little space here. Apologies for Ablakwa'S rejected Valentine gift. Wow. It's the season of Valentine. Red, white, black, all over the place. Heart-shaped gifts all over the place. Why would somebody reject another man's Valentine gift? What really is the story? But who is Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, MP for North Tongue constituency, right there in the Volta region of Ghana? He's my MP. In fact, I love him. He's been able to come out with a number of exposés. The latest one being that of Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng. And they had to go to court, hold him down, and now the Reverend is looking for a way to have him jailed for stepping allegedly on court papers. Is that what it's supposed to be? Should we not go into the story of dual faces? A two-faced man, two different mothers, two different tin numbers, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the same man who is a thorn in the skin of the ruling NPP. He's been talking about the president's flying left, right, and center, aimless flying. We've also heard him talk a lot about this cathedral. The exposés are deep, and we love him for that. Anything that disturbs our country, if that thing is exposed, the happier we are. He's my MP. I love him. He's been doing a lot of things for his area. And before Black RASTA comes out to say, oh, this is my kind of MP, you know, it's very difficult. I don't believe in politicians. A lot of them are nothing but very selfish human beings. So it takes me time to come out and say, oh, I know this person and I think that I like what this person is doing. But why did he give out a Valentine's gift? Did he give it to a woman? Which woman? Oh, okay. He gave it to a doctor. This man is a doctor, isn't he? Catholic Hospital, Bato, General Cancer Protection and Training Center. But his face is familiar. Come here, let me look at him properly. Looks like I know this gentleman. I may have to look at the photograph again. Maybe a bigger photograph will show me exactly who this person. I know Dr. Kofi Ifa. Kofi Ifa, as a student, in fact, was my senior at T.I. Amade Secondary School. I think he was 2 years ahead of me. His father was the headmaster of the school, Mr. Y.K. Ifa. I remember clearly. This is the same gentleman whose sister is the quiz mistress for the Ghana Science and Maths quiz. Do you remember the quiz mistress whose bag was stolen by some students a few years back? Oh, Elsie Kaufman Ifa. That's his elder sister. And he's called Dr. Kofi Ifa. He was the most brilliant student. In fact, at Tiamade Secondary School, O level, at least as told to us by the school authorities and, of course, the teachers. And he studied science. I know him quite well. But what is it about Valentine's gift? Okay, so this car was given to him. Could this be true? As a Valentine's gift? But Valentine is mostly about man and woman. Or have we now turned it into man and woman and woman? Maybe it's generally about love. You can love a man and send something to this man, or love a woman, send this thing to this woman as another woman, just in the spirit of love. Could this be the reason? Let's look at the headlines. Watch this. Doctor rejects Ablakwa'S car, demands source of funding. And this is Daily Guide Network. In fact, it's the government's newspaper. And when I say the government's newspaper, government-sponsored newspaper, the Daily Guide. Let's read the story. What does it say? It says what? A medical doctor at the Catholic hospital in Bato in the Volta region, Dr. Kofi Ifa, has rejected a Honda SUV car from the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, over source of funding. The hard-working medical doctor rejected the car, albeit all manner of persuasion by the lawmaker that the car was bought from his share of the Commonwealth Fund. MP's personal contribution and donations by some unknown persons close to the MP. Another reason why Dr. Ifa rejected the car has to do with the lack of robust structures for rewarding health workers in the district, which will end up having people describe the gift as favoritism. Okudzeto Ablakwa was reported to have insisted on gifting the car to the doctor until the doctor said he wanted to discuss it with his family first. This was said to have infuriated the lawmaker who believed he had been disgraced in the presence of the medical superintendent and administrator of the Catholic hospital in his office in Accra. He therefore withdrew the car offer in less than 12 hours after the meeting on Thursday, February 3, 2023. Interestingly, the MP was said to have caused media reports that the doctor had accepted the car. So the doctor had accepted the car when he had actually not accepted the car. Is that what the newspaper is saying? This publication says that the MP caused some publication to be done, alluding to the fact that the doctor had accepted the car when he actually had not accepted it. So it's falsehood that is peddling, right? Okay, so let's look at it. This has angered the doctor's family, prompting them to issue an instant statement on Monday, February 13, 2023, to deny ever receiving any car from Okudzeto Ablakwa. The family described the news making the rounds in the media space that the lawmaker has gifted the medical doctor a car as wrong. Dash it away. So the family actually wrote, and this is what the family wrote. It's a long statement denying that the doctor took the car and all that. Dash it away. Now, why would the doctor refuse the car? What's the value of the SUV Honda? My checks have made it clear that this car is close to 400,000 Ghana cedis. Brand new. He presented it to the doctor. True, the doctor rejected that. At the end of the day, he said, I would have to talk with my family so that we would agree that it is something that is worth taking. Why did the doctor refuse this car? We're going to find out. But in the interim, I placed a call to Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. And this was what he had to tell me. Come here, let me tell you something. Ablakwa said There was a time that this doctor known as Dr. Kofi Ifa, my senior at Tiamade Secondary School, requested for cervical cancer detection machines. And he went out of his way and got the machine for him to use at the hospital. He presented laptops to all the nurses in the hospital and even beyond, including the doctor. There was a time the rewarding or the awarding entity of the GMA, Ghana Medical Association, decided to reward Dr. Kofi Ifa for long service. And they gave him how much? 560 Ghana cedis as his reward for working in the hospital for more than 10 solid years. Dr. Ifa himself said, in fact, he went to the Bator Hospital after his housemanship, and he intended to stay there for only 2 years and then move out. But when he got there, as a young man, he saw some things happening in the hospital, how some Germans were coming in and leaving and all that, and he felt that he needed to do more for the people of the area. He himself is not from Bator. He's an Akan. But he decided to stay there, learn the language, and in his own words, he can now speak at least 12% of the Ewe language in the area. The people love him. But this is a doctor who has received a donation from Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa in the form of a cervical cancer detection machine and also laptops. Now he complained to Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa about how recognition in the medical field is very, very low and porous. They gave him only 560 Ghana cedis to say thank you for working in the hospital for more than 10 years. Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa said, don't worry, man. We will find time and reward you properly. In his head, he was working it out to be able to surprise him with a gift. And he came with the SUV. This one. He called him. And in a ceremony, just like people do, sometimes they blindfold you and then they move you towards something and they say, open the thing. When you open, you see a car standing there. When he saw it, he said, what? What is this? What is the source of funding? Okujeto Ablakwa said, one, my part of the common fund, MP's common fund. Number two, friends of Ablakwa. And thirdly, other donations that I have received in the past and even now. But the doctor told me in an interview a few minutes ago that, listen, Blakk RASTA, I rejected it because the common fund is not supposed to go into the pocket of the MP. I do not want any MP or any other regime to come one day and say that somebody smuggled or stole money from the government and bought me a car. If Ablakwa had said that all the money came from his pockets, from donations from friends and family and fans and loved ones, I would have accepted it. But no, he said part of it came from the common fund, and that is government money. I cannot accept that. Hey, come here. So this is Dr. Kofi Ifa. So when I put it to him that he had accepted other gifts from the MP in the past, including a cervical cancer detection machine, he said, yes, I took it for the hospital. The laptop is for the hospital. The other things he donated are for the hospital, and they are still in the hospital. When I'm leaving this hospital, I leave all of them there. I still live in a rented apartment. In fact, I use a second-hand car. Sometimes it doesn't even spark in the morning. I've worked in this hospital for close to 21 years in Bator. I've never done private service, even for 2 hours or 21 years. I want to be a man who will live clean and die clean, just like Dr. Mustafa, who worked so hard, gave his everything, and died a pauper. Asked if he would die a pauper. He says, well, he doesn't know that, but he's not afraid to die a pauper. If by being a pauper means that you should not accept money, that is illegal and that is corrupt. Kofi What a doctor. But let's read more about this doctor. Who really is he? Dr. Kofi Ifa, the Ghanaian doctor who left a life of luxury to give life to a village. Dr. Kofi Ifa's plan on his first arrival in North Tongue constituency nearly 21 years ago was to complete a spell of 2 years and get back to city life. Yes, it was a plan he and another colleague had put down, preparing for bigger opportunities and further away from rural life discomforts and perhaps unimaginable hardships. The plan was still in force, but Dr. Ifa recalls how the sacrifices of a German nun reorientated his mind. Listen, that portion is very important. The plan was still in force, but Dr. Ifa recalls how the sacrifices of a German nun reoriented his mind. So it reoriented his mind. In fact, in his recollection of his journey, he said, unbeknownst to him, he was going to dedicate the better part of his working life in a foreign land. Dr. Kofi Ifa shared his life story when the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, went to Bator to surprise him with a brand new SUV as a form of gratitude for his many years of service to the constituency. Wow. Dr. Ifa explained that although he has stayed there this long, that was not part of his original plan. I went to Bator in 2002. After my house job in Kolebu, I went with another doctor, now a big surgeon. We intended to stay for 2 years and go back to Kolebu and specialize. We wanted to do obstetrics and gynecology. When we went there, I met a nun, sister, who was from Germany, the gynecologist. She became my mentor. Let me say one thing. She said that one person does not make a hospital. Dr. Ifa alone does not make a hospital. Sister came from Germany and spent 42 years in Bator. In more difficult times, when there was no light, no electricity in Bator, it was difficult to get water. They stayed there for 42 years and finally left Bator in August 2012. That is 10 years and a half ago, he said. Dr. Ifa added that by the time his mentor was leaving the country, there was a burden on him to replace her. He said he took up the challenge, but again, he set himself on a short-term plan, hopeful that he could continue to do other things from there. Things once again, however, didn't go as planned. He also spoke about how challenging it had been working in Bator when he does not fully speak their language. When they were going back, they needed somebody here in Bator to hold the fort. I decided to go there. My motivation was the fact that these were Germans who had left a legacy, not for Bator alone, but for the whole country. The Bator you see now is a legacy for the whole country. What the hospital does in other places, this would be a national asset. I'm not from Bator. I struggled every year. Every year. My airway increases by 1% from time to time. Now I am at 12%. I don't speak airway. I struggle with it, but I speak a little, very basic. But when the Germans were leaving, I told myself I was going to stay for 5 years because the first 5 years are the most difficult years when any system gets a changeover. Here I am. I have been there 10 years and counting, he added. Being the selfless man he is, Dr. Kofi Ifa said that one of his most rewarding principles have been that he has not allowed money to influence him. He also highlighted the need for people to sacrifice for good causes. Wow. Dash it away. So this is the man. This is the man called Dr. Kofi Ifa. He stayed behind, mentored by a German nun. He has stayed in this village called Bato for 21 years. April will be 21 years. But the original German nun, who was the gynecologist at the time, stayed there for 42 years. And when she finally left, the burden fell on him to be able to live up to expectation. So he rejected the car. And his biggest reason, as I spoke to him, was that if the money had come from Samuel Okudzeto to Ablakwa'S pockets directly, and he said the source of funding is family and friends and fans of Okudzeto Ablakwa, he would have taken the car. But Commonwealth, did I say Commonwealth? Common fund. The MP's common fund. He will not take it because he thinks it's government money. That's what he said. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonomo, where we speak truth to power. Where do you stand? What do you think about this? Come here. When I spoke with Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, he was down. He felt that he had been embarrassed, especially that he had met the doctor earlier to tell him in his own office that this was what was going to be done for him. He didn't reject it. And when they went to present it in the presence of journalists, this was what the doctor said, that no, he would have to speak with his family first. He felt betrayed. Much as he had a good mind because he had donated a lot of things to the hospital in the past, he felt that as an MP, he would always want to be one of the best MPs this nation has ever had. This is a man who has a fund that raises shoes for school children. He's a man who has chairs and furniture. He calls that furniture and whatever in his constituency there. Children who go to school without shoes, immediately you get shoes from his shoe fund. Those schools that do not have furniture, immediately he supplies that. So recently when there was a documentary from Joy FM concerning the shameful schools in Ghana, blah, blah, blah. Some of them have pupils lying on their bare bellies to study. His constituency was singled out because he provides some of these things from his own pockets and from the, in fact, MP's common fund. He felt betrayed. But Dr. Kofi Ifa said something. He said, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa is my close friend. I love him. I know how embarrassing this is. I do not want to speak to any media house. For that matter, he didn't allow us to record him. In fact, I want to be able to settle this with the MP and let him understand that I did not intend to embarrass him, but principle is principle. I know that a lot of people are going to insult me, but it's better to be insulted than to live with a certain kind of guilt, not necessarily from a wrongdoing from the other party, but because your mind tells you it's wrong. Wow. If we could have 10 of these doctors in Ghana, all the hospitals in Ghana would be so well equipped, so selfless a doctor. He's not into private practice. Today, some of our doctors are into private practice. The patient comes, he realizes that this is rich. He says, this is your sickness, you need a private hospital. Come to this hospital. Some of them go on strike unnecessarily. Yes, I know doctors are so disrespected in this country, but there are others who have lived with this disrespect. Imagine he worked for 10 years and his reward was 560 Ghana cedis. But he's still there. He doesn't speak the language of the people. He lives in a rented house. His car is a second-hand car from Germany that coughs smoke every time he moves. And people have approached him and told him that this does not befit your status. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa only wanted to present him with this car, not to manipulate him politically, but this is what he has done for the hospital. In fact, at the demand of this same Dr. Kofi Ifa. Communication might not have gone well, but I believe that we'll be able to settle the difference and something can be done. I think that they will come to a certain point of agreement. This is the Blakk pot, aka Kukushonam.
Go on, Skipper George.
Blakk pot, Kukusho.